everybody, welcome to number 27 from me, Jack, and from Sumo, my LS400, which is just nestled outside the window there. Now, tomorrow, my friend Marky is coming round. He's taking the screen off, and we're going to sort out the sealing issue there. So hopefully, I'll have a watertight car. Also, the work I did with the silicone on that rear seal didn't work, and I've just seen they're only £35 on eBay, hoping that they're not terrible quality. So I've ordered some from eBay, so that the rear boot seal I'm going to have to redo. Fine, not a problem. In the meantime, before Marky comes, I thought I would start having a look at the dashboard and the problems there. I have spotted some potential issues. First of all, there is a burn mark there. It's on both sides of the circuit board. However, I have tested for continuity on that trace. I think they're called traces, these connecting wires. And it hasn't burnt through on either of them. And I spoke to a friend and asked, why would that happen? There's a bit of scorch marks on the wires here as well, but it hasn't quite burnt through the cover of the wire. So I don't think it was a short circuit as such. Anyway, my mate Stefano, it's an old mate from school, ciao Stefano. So he is really a whiz at electronics, and he just said it's other componentry that caused a surge to go through that particular part of the board. So that's not something, in theory, that I need to worry about for the moment. What there is, which is more concerning, is these three capacitors here are the ones that are quite famous for having issues if you've got the display, if the light on your display isn't working. And I can see that one of them here has the heat shrink, which has been pulled down. It should be over the top like the other two, and it's just been shrunk down to the side. That would indicate that this has been overheated, and so that is probably in need of replacement. So that's all good. However, there is another potential issue I've found here, and that is that there is a resistor just off to the side there, which also looks like it's burnt out, and unfortunately it's right under this heatsink, under this, I don't know what it is, a chip or something, which is soldered to the board. So not at all easy to get to that. I don't know what I'm going to do because I have been looking to try and find replacement dashers, and it's just been a nightmare, because even for the Mark II facelift, which is the car I have, there's quite a few variations in instrument clusters, so they can look very similar. So far I've found three which are for a 97, so the right car, and they all have a slightly different pins in this blue plug. So that's just been a bit of a nightmare, and I thought, well, okay, at this stage, if I can't get hold of a replacement cluster, I might just try and fix this. So the first thing I'm going to do with my soldering iron is try and take out this capacitor here, and then probably also and see if I can get to that resistor there. Possibly might have to desolder this component and get that out as well. I have done some soldering in the past, but I am not an expert on this, so it's going to be a bit unnerving to do. Okay, so here it is. Now, normally you would expect to see traces of leakage or something there if it was faulty, and I can't see anything, which is disappointing. I was hoping to see something, but at least that one capacitor is out. Now, I have to underline, I didn't really do it the best way possible. Normally you're supposed to wick out the solder from the other side, but I haven't got the kit to do that, and I wanted to sort of get started on this. So anyway, that's the first component taken out. Right everyone, this is Marky and James. I know Marky from, have a look at the camera mate.
Oh, sorry.
I know Marky from my first days with the 964s, which is where I've met a lot of my mates that have sort of remained from the car crowd and so on. And Marky insisted, he saw the Lexus and he insisted on coming up and replacing the screen for me, because that's the kind of guy he is. So what are we doing? So obviously there's a leak coming from that top corner, right? And there's also rust in that top corner, so we suspect that A, it wasn't fitted that well, and B, the rust is maybe got under it.
Exactly that. What we're going to do, redo the job basically, find out if there's good stuff or nasty stuff underneath, or address that, put the screen back in, job done hopefully. That's it, James.
What did you just say, Mark? Just repeat.
I said thanks, Jack.
Because what's happened? They've glued it in, right?
They've glued the trim from the back and the front edge. Right. So basically, because it's like a quite a rigid trim, you can't pull it out, otherwise it'll all kink. Yeah. So we're having to sort of cut round the back of it and save it at the same time, because obviously we can't get one of these for you. Yeah. But it's all part of the joys of doing Jack YouTube videos. Basically, we've pretty much found what we thought we were going to find underneath. It's had a screen, I don't know, it could have been 5-10 years ago. Unfortunately, where they've cut it back, they've marked the metalwork, and then that's obviously created the rust issue here. I mean, it is possible to get these screens out without marking the metal at all, but back maybe when this was replaced, they didn't have the tools that we've got now that you can pretty much get a screen out without marking it. But just needs to be treated, rubbed down, and then obviously we'll put the screen back.
Okay, so you basically, I'm going to have to do that, and then you're going to come back and fit it at a later date, yeah?
Get it all treated, let it all dry properly and cure. We'll come back, and then the screen goes back in, and then it'll be good to go.
Okay, ace. I'm waiting for a break in the weather so that I can get on and just go over the screen, the edges of the screen, and try and clean that up and repaint it. But in the meantime, it's just been raining every single day. In the meantime, I have received some of the spare capacitors to replace the one that looked like it was blown, and that has been resoldered back on the main board, so that should be okay. The bigger issue now is it hasn't arrived yet, but I need to put in one of these replacement resistor, and it's right under this heatsink, and although I was able to just about take it off under there's no way I'm going to be able to put it on. To get it off, I'm going to have to remove this chip or whatever it is, which is obviously quite a high power chip because it's got a heatsink. To remove that, there's 3 separate prongs that go in, so I can't do what I did with the other one and sort of desolder one at a time, edging it out. I had to wait for this, which is solder wick. With that, I'll heat up and suck up the solder that's there, and hopefully then it'll be completely clean and I can pull the whole assembly out. Putting some soldering flux on the wick helped a great deal, but you can see how it sort of just, I don't know, can you see it? How it sort of sucks up all the solder. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, these 3 are now pretty much desoldered, so I will try and remove this. Hello everybody, it's another day with Sumo, and it is absolutely freezing. Sumo's completely iced over. So perfect day really for this. It's been raining here, so it's either raining or absolutely freezing. It's been raining almost every day, so I was waiting till today to do this. And then Mark's supposed to come back in a couple of days' time to finally fit it. I cannot wait for this to be done. I need to start using Sumo really, because the Merc soon is going to have some surgery, so that's been my daily. So I need to sort this out. So today I'm going to grind this all back, treat it, paint it, ready for when the screen goes back in. I've ordered some, it's gone slightly into the roof area here, so I'm going to go into that as well, and then I do have some body colour spray. It won't be a brilliant job, but it just won't be noticeable, so that will be fine, I think. It's all pretty clean now, and as we first thought, it really is just quite mild surface rust. So ordinarily what I would have done in the past is also put some rust killer on here, but in my experience I've used rust killer before and it does absolutely nothing. It just turns the surface black. As soon as you scratch underneath, if there's any rust, there's still rust there. I find just anti-rust primer with zinc coating in it to be much more effective, so I'm going to give it several coats of this zinc primer, and then after that I'm going to give it a top coat of paint as well, and then we can fit the windscreen back. All back in place, and I replaced this capacitor as well because I didn't like the way the old one was soldered. So only thing left now is to see if it works. Okay, it's all plugged in, and as soon as I plugged it in, some of the auxiliary lights came on and so on, but the whole thing hasn't come on. which probably isn't a good sign. The needles flickered and then went off, but I haven't tried to start the car or do anything like that yet, so let's try and do that and see. Right, one more thing is that this hasn't been fitted yet. There's a couple of plugs. Could it be that this, because I think it has the dimmer on it, maybe this has to be connected. Let's try it. Well, the needles stay on for a fraction of a second longer than they did before, but that's about it. How disappointing. So a bit of a disaster yesterday with the cluster, which obviously didn't work, but luckily Marky's come today even though he's not feeling that well. And at the moment he's just putting on some body primer on top of the stuff that I've already put down to make it ready to bond the screen back on. So hopefully at least we will have the screen back in today, which is good. And I've done an amazing job, haven't I, mate?
You should be a painter.
I should. Can hardly see that line. But it will do.
That blend is just...
The blend is amazing, isn't it? It's just factory.
Yeah.
Right, screen is back on, so at least a bit of success today. Thanks a lot, Marky. Really appreciate it, buddy.
No problems, Jack.
How long do I have to leave it now before I could drive it, technically
Minimum
speaking?
drive away time 2 hours, but preferably leave it till tomorrow. Would be good.
So the what you've used to bond it on, it's a sort of special variation of some sort of silicone sealant of some kind.
Not silicone, more of a urethane.
Okay.
Goes off with humidity rather than temperature.
Okay. So that's why it's absolutely fine, and it will go off even in this
being a
cold.
nice, crisp winter's English day,
Yeah.
it's going to take a little while.
Yeah. The DIY seal that I tried to sort of fix myself with silicone didn't work. Surprisingly, so I've bought a new one on eBay. It looks like a pattern part, but hopefully it will fit. So it's not exactly the same, but it looks like it's about the right height. But I'm going to fit that. I've just spent a while cleaning all the horrible siliconing that I did before, so that it's pretty clean. I've just got to do a little bit more here. There's a few spots of surface rust, so I'm just going to treat those, and then I'm going to put this back on. And the cluster, I'm not giving up, but luckily somebody who owns a Lexus from a Lexus UK forum, I can't remember which one it is, but Howard, thank you very much, he has offered to send me a cluster that he had for parts. So it probably won't be working, but it'll allow me to swap some parts over, see if I can get that going. But for now, the cluster has to go back in so I can use the car, and when needed I'll just have to use a torch or something to see things like fuel level. And I can have my phone on there to show speed, which is the most critical thing. So in the meantime, Sumo is coming back into service. Everything's reassembled and Sumo is back in one piece, which is just awesome because it means that I can actually start using this car. I'll just switch it on. Such a shame that the dash is still dark, but I will get there eventually. I will get there. Works, it's all good. One last thing to do is to see about the boot. I'm going to try wetting the car and making sure that the new seal has worked that I've just put on there. I'm not that convinced because it was an aftermarket seal. It's like a generic seal, so I'm not sure if it was going to work. I've sprayed a lot of water on it to see if it's sealed, and I almost don't want to check because I'm just not sure that this pattern seal will have worked, but let's see. I've put some cardboard inside so that should take up any water that may have gotten in. It actually looks, so far, certainly not. Oh, it looks it looks like it may have worked. I can't believe it. That is absolutely amazing. I am well chuffed. That really has worked. The cardboard doesn't have any water. Tiny bit here that's dropped just now. I think that's wet from before though. I hope so. That looks okay. Promising. That is just awesome news. That is just awesome news, and it means that I can actually start using it. And the dash is the one major thing left to sort out, then the front suspension. But for a while I'm going to use it, get a bit of a break from the Bismarck and make some progress with that. But that is awesome news. So chuffed. Thank you all very much for watching as always. Really look forward to seeing you for the next one.